from the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to the 26th season and this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, Cinco de Mayo, Omaha. Joining us to talk more about it is Marcos Mora, the organization's executive director. Thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Oh, thank you.
All right, I want to start. What is the story behind Cinco de Mayo?
Well, Cinco de Mayo, the misconception is that it's Mexico's independence, which it's not. It's the battle of what they call Puebla when they fought the French. So it was just a battle, but I think the reason why it's so significant now is, kind of that movement of Mexican pride, but also, they won that battle and they weren't supposed to win it. And I think when we look at the struggle sometimes that we have in life and things like that, there is just a significance of sharing that, struggle of saying, hey, we want to share our culture and our pride and things like that. And so I think a lot of it just came from sharing a piece of our culture, and just to take a little piece and say, here, like we've seen in society from the Italians, the Czechs, and all the other different groups, it was just a way to share Mexican pride.
Which answers the question, why do we celebrate it in the United States? Anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I think it's what it's turned into, like another St. Patrick's, it's just America's great at grabbing these, things and holding on to it and stem the economy, right? So in Omaha over this next week or two, you're going to see all types of Cinco de Mayo celebrations, people doing things just like we do for St. Patrick's.
Okay, so how did it make its way to Nebraska, Marcos?
Wow, if you look at the immigrants and the families that came, we know that the first Mexican festival was in 1920, documented here in Omaha. And throughout that time, again, and the groups really weren't that large, although when you look at 1920, it said 500 Mexicans celebrated, Mexican independence, which is really a lot in 1920. And then, the population wasn't really that big until we get to later years, but it just was, I think, evolution throughout time.
Okay, so we go back 100 years. Kind of a loaded question, and I'll say briefly, walk us through the history of Cinco de Mayo here in Omaha.
Yeah, and I always have to say that it's just not Cinco de Mayo because it's which we call El Grito, or 16 de Septiembre, which is like Mexico's independence, which is September 15th and 16th, when we celebrate that, right? So it goes back and forth. When some of the research that we've done in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, we have articles and pictures and celebrations throughout each decade, but we don't have Cinco de Mayo every single year. Sometimes it might have been 16, I don't know, because we don't have documentation for everything, but it was back and forth throughout those decades. I think we have the first photos later on more in the 30s and 40s. In the 20s, we just have, support articles, from the World Herald.
What I find very fascinating and cool is that your family is a big part of this. We're going to put a photo up for our viewers from the 1930s. Marcos, tell us how your family got involved in this and who these people are.
Yeah, that's actually my grandmother. They called her Ella, which was Eduarda, actually, and Pamphilo Barrientos. So that's actually right at 24th and P Street. And so my grandfather and his two brothers arrived here in 1925, and they were musicians. And they just shared that part of the culture, that went well with the festivals and the ambiance of, music in the community.
Well, so you grew up with this, obviously.
Yes.
I'm going to take you back in time and share with our viewers your first memory of it.
Well, my first memory is as a child. because it was always, and it still happens to this day, that parents and relatives want you to know something about your background, your culture. So what they would do is the easiest thing. Music's a little tougher if you got a natural ability, but a lot of times dance was the simplest thing. So we were the youngest ones. Our aunts and uncles would teach, and they would customize their own outfits. So I was basically 7 years old, me and my cousin Tracy. They taught us. We were the little kids out there dancing. Of course, everyone thinks you're cute. And so I got pictures of me, on 24th Street on the stage, Chicano Winter Center, of us, dancing when I was 7 years old. So I've been involved in it for a very long time.
Well, talk about that influence on your life, Marcos. I mean, I can't imagine going back to 7, and they didn't send us any of those pictures, by the way, or we would have shown those to our viewers. But this had to have quite a big impact on your life from the time you were little, 7, all the way to now, obviously.
Right, right. I feel fortunate because I feel like I came up bicultural, right? Basically, we listened to mariachi music and Mexican culture and food, tamales, enchiladas, sopa, rice and all that stuff. But at the same time, you're American, and you grew up with, American music, oldies music, and rock and roll, and all those great music. So it was really, you almost had the best of both worlds. You go to school a little bit and adapt to what's there, but then at home, you would have these traditions of what the music and the food and the language, which is just really rich and a lot of love and tradition.
Well, viewers might be thinking, okay, so this is going to fall on the 5th of May, but it's not. It's actually going to be celebrated the 12th through the 14th.
Correct.
Why not the 5th?
Why not the 5th? You know what? Everybody's been asking about that. So there's 2 great events going on right here in Omaha. 2 huge events. One, a worldwide event, which is Berkshire Hathaway has their conference, and it's always the first weekend of May. So we're hoping after this, maybe we could talk to them and say, hey, could you guys switch it to the last week in April or something? Because we can't switch May 5th. We can't switch May 5th, so we just went to the next week. Well, there's a couple of logistic reasons why. Security, police, they got to go back and forth, do a lot of different things. Hotels, sponsors that want to be in both. I think it's great, both events for Omaha, because they're both going to stimulate the economy for Omaha, right? But to have them at the same time is not the greatest thing, so we have to really offset both of them.
Okay, all right. So I do want to walk folks through. There is so much involved with this event, and the fact that I'm sitting across from you and you're the executive director, I mean, you make this thing go, obviously, with the help of a lot of staff and volunteers and folks. So I want to start, we're going to walk through kind of each of the offerings here. Let's start with the parade.
Okay.
Tell us about that and give us any history that you want to about it.
Sure.
But what makes it such a big deal?
Well, the parade is actually going to be, Saturday, May 13th at 10 o'clock along historic South 24th Street. And you can see in the photo, that's coming right down the heart of 24th Street. Back in the day, it used to be from L to Q, but now it's from actually D as in dog all the way down to L Street. But it's Omaha's largest parade, and we have a little bit over 100 entries of all. You got horses, and you got the grand marshals, and actually, I know this year we're going to have the chancellor. Is going to be there. Chancellor Lee's going to be there. So just a little of everybody's going to be in the parade. It's so popular, and it's just a wonderful thing. Everyone loves to come out, and after that, everyone just goes into the fiesta. But the parade is just, I would say, one of the most diverse, popular features of the festival.
So we're looking at photos, of course, that are all around the Cinco de Mayo here theme. But for our viewers, especially those who are watching, from across the state, that street we just saw, there's history there.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
some really rich history.
There is.
Tell us what you think is important for us to know, especially for those viewers who've never been, maybe even to Omaha, but to that part of town.
Yeah. South 24th Street, historic South 24th Street has always had a lot of history, historic history, really for immigrants. So many immigrants have passed through there, the Czechs, the Polish, everyone has gone through there, hardworking people. It's kind of where your start is. And remember, we used to have the stockyards there, and that was the epic of the world, really, for, meat and cows and everything, the stench that was down there. But So it's always been very well known for that, but I think it's also been known for good, strong work ethic. It's just families down there that are really just trying to get to the next level, and that's kind of their starting point, and that's what you're seeing. But what you're also seeing down there is a very vibrant business district. It's probably the strongest business district in Omaha. When you look at, we got the Old Market, we got Benson, we got Dundee. So you go down there 7 days a week, almost 15 hours a day, it is packed. I went down there at 24th now. I had to wait 3 blocks just to get in there on Saturday. It's just a huge, beautiful district and business, so we definitely want people to go down there. You're going to find food, great food, all types of different food for a really good price. You know, there's a lot of other things, products, just things you really won't find in other places in town for a really good price.
Okay, and I want to put up some more photos now. You mentioned food. We're going to do rides first. So stuff for the kids. I mean, there's a lot happening. So tell us about the rides.
You know, we always say it's a family fun-filled day for everyone because the rides are a popular feature, and they're kind of spread out with little kids rides, big kids rides, and just something good to bring your kids down while you know, you can get a taco and grab something to drink and they can get on the rides. We have ponies and just a little bit of everything for them, games, and they really enjoy it, you know. So we actually, you have all-day ride carnival pass that you can actually pick up at Supermercado. You get $5 off. If you've never been to one, there's 3 different locations, and you can go to the website and look for that. But you can go to any of those locations and get $5 off your all-day ride pass.
That's not bad. I have to admit, I want to get to the food now here. Let's put that picture up. This is a great photo, but I know there's much more to the food story, so share that with us.
You know, food, one of the most popular things is tacos. You know, you're seeing a taco there with the limon, you know, the lime there, the lime, he's actually just kind of, you know, putting that little bit of flavor on it. So they just enjoy, everyone enjoys a taco, and there's different styles of meats and items you can find. But, you know, we won't have just tacos, you know, there'll be turkey legs, and you know, and there'll still be, you know, burgers and rice, and but there'll be other types of, you know, food, pupusas and other things that you maybe never had and want to try a little bit. So, you know, there's actually this year we're gonna have about, I think, at least 30 vendors. We're gonna have a food truck area and then a whole block full of food vendors. So lots of food.
Wow, so come hungry.
I'm hungry, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we can't talk culture without talking about clothing, right? So we have 2 photos for our viewers today. We're going to put the first one up. Tell us about these young ladies and why they look so happy and beautiful, and they have their flowers, and yeah.
Well, the tradition is always what we call the Queen contest. Actually, we switch ours to Miss, where we call it Miss Little Cinco de Mayo. So they're happy because they won. And so that's just always been a tradition to have your queen crowning. And what we started was the Little Miss. We actually incorporated the little girls into it. And that has been a real popular feature. So that's always, again, just in the culture that we have that segment of that, you know. So it's just a wonderful part of the festival.
How cool. Okay, and another photo here. Gotta love this.
Yeah, you have, you know, this was actually, they're dancing and just, you know, they have different costumes. You know, depending on what region they come from, they have different costumes. This is almost kind of, you can see the skulls in there, which is almost kind of mimic of kind of a Day of the Dead type of thing, which is coming really popular. And so, you know, and when you see these dances, they always have a lot of color and vibrance, and people love the dancers. You know, you're going to see all types of dance groups dancing out there in beautiful dresses and all different types of colors. So it's going to be wonderful.
Well, I was going to say, we would tend to think that that is the focus, but I can't imagine how you feel watching people watch your performers. I mean, to see them light up, and that's just got to be really cool. Speaking of which, entertainment. So there's stuff during the day, but there's also stuff at night. We'll put up our stage photo here, and you can tell us what type of music we're going to be hearing and who's going to be performing.
You know, most of it I would say is like more regional Mexican, you know, music, which we call it like, this is a norteño band. You'll see that accordion and the bass, the guitar, the singer, and you kind of see the cowboy hats there. Very similar to kind of country rhythms, really. If you love country, you're going to love this style of music down there. You can get it there in 2-step, do all the dancing. It's really fun. You can see tons of people. They love, you know, we have concerts on Friday and Sunday that bring families and just enjoy the music. On Saturday we're gonna have a Santana tribute band at 2:30, so people that love Santana. There'll be a variety of music and dancers. I know on Sunday we're gonna be doing a Zumba Mania at 12:30, which will be kind of fun. You want to come down there and do a little exercise on Mother's Day? You can come down for an hour and do some Zumba.
Yeah, that would be Mother's Day. You're absolutely right. How cool. Is there anything that you're going to be showcasing or anything that would be important for our viewers to know that I haven't asked you about specific to the 3 days?
There's two other items that we're going to be doing a health fair on Saturday. That'll start, right around 11 o'clock, go for a few hours on the plaza. And then also another tradition of the festival is actually to have like a mariachi mass. It's a mass in Spanish. You might not know the language, but it's still all the same movements of the mass in there. And there'll be a mariachi there, and they'll have the mass, and go through the whole thing on the plaza. It'll be filled. We work with the Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, and that'll happen on Sunday at 10:30. So that's something that we've always done too.
Wow, how many people are you expecting this year?
We get, hundreds of thousands of people. They come in from about 5 or 6 states. They come in from all over, and it's just a lot of people. After that parade, it's like a big tidal wave that fills up. You got to remember, you're looking at about 8 blocks of space, that are jam-packed. You can barely walk. That's how many people there are. It's Omaha's largest, event, festival, and just a lot of people. So parking is always going to be a little bit of an issue. And actually, this year we're going to have a shuttle down at Metro Community College in the parking lot. So this is the first year we're going to bring a shuttle so people can go park there, and we'll drive them up. Because otherwise you're going to sometimes have to park as much as a mile away just to, park and get in there. So we will have a shuttle on Saturday and Sunday only.
I think people expect, though, to walk when it comes to stuff like this, but it is nice, especially for those who aren't able to get around quite as well, who still want to experience something like this, that you're making it easier for them. All right. You look pretty relaxed right now, Marcos, but again, as we said earlier, you are the person who really spearheads all of this. Talk about the planning involved with this event.
Sure. It's an all year-round thing. So we have a couple staff members. Back in the day, we were all volunteers, and our budget back in in the late 90s was $1,000. Now I think to run this thing, it's probably about $350,000. Just to run it. The expenses are going up, but income's getting challenging. We still need more sponsors and grants to support it, but it's really grown. So we have to work all year long. One of the things is we have an internship program. It's really unique that runs about 9 months, and the students get experience in a bilingual marketing campaign. Whether it's TV, radio, print, social media, and we have last year I think we spent about $25,000 on internships. It's paid internships. We have students, so we're constantly working all year long, working on development, planning, and we just don't do this event because we also have the one in September. So we're pretty much, as soon as we finish this one, we go right into the September event. And when we finish September, we go right into Cinco because we have to get everything ready by the end of the year to start executing Cinco, because when January hits, it just takes off. So it's all year long. It's compared from back in the day, it's a huge production now.
Wow. Okay. Key partners in this, and I know you talked about sponsors, but you couldn't do it without, and I don't expect you to name them all, but there have to be some anchor organizations who step up time and time again, and you don't even have to ask them anymore. They're just there for you. What would you say to them if they were watching now?
Muchas gracias. Thank you. We appreciate the support. It's really appreciative. One of them is Supermercado Nuestra Familia. They took stores. Sometimes you got to adapt to your neighborhood. And those stores were mainly kind of English-driven, cultural type stores, but they tailored them. Those supermercados now got tortillas in them, fresh tortillas you can buy. You can go buy enchiladas and tamales, and anybody could go there. You can get a great lunch meal for about $6 that you can't get anywhere with rice, beans, and whatever else. So they've always been there for the community. You know, they're right in the heart of all the different communities, 68107, 108, 105. And so they've always been there, you know, and so have so many other supporters, you know, a lot of the different banks and other entities that have been there. So yeah, it's been really, I mean, don't get me wrong, we need more. We're having a little bit of growing pains now because of expenses going up. Like our security last year was 10,000, it's 27,000 this year. Our stages were 6,000 last year, they're 10,000. So we can't absorb that expenses too much longer without pulling more money in. So we're kind of having growing pains right now because expenses in insurance, you know, our insurance used to be $1,800 and then it's $4,500. Now it's $10,000 because why? Because we're bigger. So that means we need a little bit more, well, we need a lot more money to really support this entity because it's from what I was told, it was actually Nebraska's top 3 largest events. But we don't have the top 3 budget,
Yeah.
so we're in need of more budget. You know.
So tell us a little bit about, you have the 2 events, but I guess educate our viewers a little bit more about the nonprofit organization piece of it.
Sure. Well, yeah, it is nonprofit, and you know we can apply for grants and get grants and you know take donations, but. I think the cool thing that we do is we also have, you know, scholarships. You know, part of our thing is we have the internships, you know, that we do, and then we have the scholarships. So it's always been a community-based event, you know, for the community. It's not like, okay, hey, I own it, and then I'm taking, you know, this person's getting the money, or da-da-da. It funnels back into the community, you know, where we might work with the school organization. They're going to help us out. They need a fundraiser. Oh, they're going to get some. The church says, oh, hey, you know what? We need to raise some money. We're going to sell tacos. Okay, so we partner with you. You're going to sell it so you can get some money back. Everybody's getting a little piece that goes right back into our economy, into our business sectors, into other nonprofits that are partnering with us.
Yeah, people helping you and then you helping others.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this for so long. You talked about, you know, what this means for the young people, and we can't say enough about trying to do things for the young people. Is there a story that comes to mind, Marcos, of maybe a young man or a young lady that you've helped along the way, and they've circled back to you and said, guess what I'm doing now? And it was in large part because of, you know, not just your contributions, but your belief in what they were doing.
You know, I don't know if I have one exact story, but I have heard from more students that, you know, maybe were our interns or they got one of our scholarships. We just had our gala. We had a gala, you know, dinner, and we gave out scholarships and gave out 30,000 scholarships with partners. And I ran to a couple, said, oh yeah, I got that scholarship. That really helped me. You know, we appreciate that. And I was like, I didn't even know, because that was back, I don't know, in 2008 or 9 or whenever we did that back then. But they said that, you know, that really helped them. We had interns that, we've had a lot of interns too, you know, that said, oh yeah, that really helped me at that time because I needed a part-time job, but I got to do this and that. And now they're working, like last year we had a few of our interns graduate in marketing. Now they're all out getting jobs, we gave them references, and they're all doing well. So to know that we had that effect, that we could help them a little bit to get to where they wanted to go, and now they're in society and contributing, doing well. I think that says a lot.
Well, and you've already touched on this too in terms of the benefit to the city and to the state, but I think especially considering that we are a statewide program, I think it would be important, Marcos, for you to talk to the people, especially on the other side of the state. It's kind of that, so what? You know, so why does this impact, or how does this impact me? Talk to those folks a little bit.
Yeah, I think for Nebraska, it shows diversity. You know, because some people look at Omaha and they look at Nebraska and think, you know, is there diversity there? Yeah. In 20 years, the state of Nebraska is going to be 25% Latino, you know, because of the hardworking families spread out through Nebraska, and it's just sharing one's culture. And really, it's just part of history. We've had all different types of immigrants come, and right now it's just kind of that Latino flavor that's right there. But we've had all other different types of immigrants, you know, and culture is a beautiful thing, right? So I think one is that makes diversity in Nebraska great, right? At the same time, it contributes, you know, to the culture, to the environment. It contributes to economics. Really, economics. So, you know, unemployment is low in Nebraska, but this type of event helps because it's bringing people into Nebraska. It's exposing them to them, and so we're going to have a lot of exhibitors and people down there that says, "Ooh, they're trying to recruit people. They're trying to bring workers," and this type of thing can help that to show that, hey, Nebraska is diverse and there's some really cool things going on here.
I did want to ask you about that collaborative spirit because you said, from 6 states, people are coming in from 6 other states. I would imagine you, especially as the executive director, are being introduced now to, a lot of Nebraskans, obviously, but to people in other states, and you're able to talk to them about, hey, how do you guys do this, and how can we work together to make it better? So talk a little bit about that collaborative spirit behind something like this.
Sure. We got people coming in from, Denver, Chicago, Minneapolis, Des Moines, Kansas City. Bigger cities, right? I'm thinking, you guys are coming down here to us. Well, you guys have it, big over there. So we definitely looked and analyzed. I've analyzed a lot of festivals and, everywhere I go, because I was a musician too, so I would travel all over. It's like, oh, I like that idea. What I've really done is just taken ideas of things that I like and see and kind of incorporated into what we did. And that's how we just started growing and just doing this wonderful festival. So you're always trying to take ideas from everyone else, but at the same time, people love what we do and they're coming in because we're a little bit more unique maybe than what they have over there. Even Kansas City, which has a stronger ethnic population in some aspects, but we actually have a bigger festival than they do when it comes to Latino Festival. They don't have one bigger than we do, so they come up from down there up here.
Talking about the Cinco de Mayo Omaha today. Oh, so excited. Folks wanting more information, we're going to put a graphic up so people can learn a little bit more here. Again, we want to stress this is not on the 5th of May. This is May 12th through the 14th, and really it's at the heart of South Omaha. There are 24th and N Streets. And the website, cdmomaha.com. You can go there and find out everything you want to know about this event. Marcos, thank you so much for being here. We want to wish you the very best with this and with everything else that you guys have coming up.
Yeah,
thank you
very
so
much.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks to our students who are working so hard behind the scenes, and of course to all of you for watching. As we close, a look at Jean Leahy Mall in Omaha as seen through the lens of Sapphire Bennett, a sophomore at UNO. We'll see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at nebraskapublicmedia.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.